Welcome into the 411 podcast. Thank you so much for joining out there. If you were out there on Facebook, I want to say what's up. I see Miss Bethany was out there on Instagram. Custom Creations was out there as well. Thank you so much. So if you're out there, please go ahead and like, comment, share, tag your friends, and invite them into the 411. So tonight we have a very special guest, Marquita Staples is coming in, and we're going to learn about some children's books and find out about what it's like to write a series of children's books. Miss Marquita Staples coming in tonight on a 411 podcast. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been such a journey being here this time, still being here during this time frame. And I want to say thank you to everybody out there that's supporting. And let's get right on into the song of the day. So yesterday was Michael Jackson's birthday. And I love when you can hear Michael and other artists. He just comes through in so many different ways, and which lets you know that he will never die. His music will never die. And you will also hear some of his tones and just certain things that people picked up from him over the years. It will turn into, other different artists. So I was like, yeah, Chris Brown and Rihanna, when they did this Nobody's Business, if you listen to it off of the Unapologetic album, you can hear the tones of Michael Jackson come through on both of them. And that's what really gravitated me towards the song. The beat is good. The lyrics are good, especially when you've been in some little situations, which, I know I've been there. So, of course, I'm going to, gravitate towards the song. But when I heard Michael come through on both of them, oh man, I love that. It could give chills to you if you understand music and you know where it's coming from. Nobody's Business, Rihanna featuring Chris Brown off an Apologetic album, 2012. Listen, if you like this album and you like this song, and if you agree with me that you can hear Michael Jackson on this record, drop it in the comments. Let me know. And on that note, last night we had a great show. Flames came through all the way from Georgia, speaking to us about his fashion line and clothing company. And y'all definitely go ahead and check out that replay. Check out his site. Check out the clothes. I know that I'm going to be all on it. Excuse me. I want to say what's up to Mr. Ian West. Thank you so much for supporting. Will Serve. Will Serve was out there last night asking some questions, and Flames was going through and speaking and answering questions. So I thought that the networking was real on point last night. I want to say what's up to Roang, all the way from South Korea. Tate Ellington, go ahead and check out that replay on Reading Between the Wines. Young KV, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for dropping by and commenting on my page. I appreciate that. Jason T. Davis, Switch Boutique, Miss Shanti Refuge, my friend. She has 26 journals. Please go ahead and check her out as well. Shanti Refuge Journals, Miss Seduction Spot. And also I want to give a very special thank you to Alex Coquito, all the way from Puerto Rico, my friend. Check out his show, Midnight Vibes, and you'll be pleasantly surprised to find myself on that show as the co-host. And I want to say thank you so much to Alex Coquito for inviting me in on this situation. So let's go ahead and rewind this in a little bit. We had a great conversation yesterday. We had some real deep conversation, and I didn't even think it would go down like that. I wasn't really preparing for that yesterday, but like I said, you never know what you're going to get here on the 411, so it went down like that. But the question that I have to ask you all tonight as we rewind this thing, how many times are you willing to accept the words "I'm sorry"? Some people accept it more than what they probably should. Again, it all depends on the circumstance. That's what Flame said last night. It all depends on the circumstance, what the situation might be. I totally agree. But one thing that I believe is that the first time we go through a situation, depending on the severity, the man that I am today, I might, let you get a second chance. I might. Because I'm very transparent about how I share my story and who I am. So you're going to sort of know what will sit well with me and what won't. So somebody who crosses the line today, I'm going to be really, really checking out the situation and second guessing and just evaluating the whole situation if I'm going to continue to, pursue this. After that, I think you probably only get one more time to tell me that you're sorry. Because, like I said before, you keep spinning your wheels in quicksand. Me accepting these things from you time and time again, you telling me you sorry time and time again, that's ain't nothing but wasted energy and wasted time. And who has time to waste time? Because I know I don't got time to waste time. I don't know if you do, but have you been in a situation where you continuously are accepting the words "I'm sorry," and you know it ain't good, you know it ain't right, and you're trying to figure out what's going to be the exit strategy? I think it's harder to exit from somebody when you allow them to keep, doing you over time and time again. Have some standards, let people know that you can't cross this line here. It sort of keeps people in check a little bit. It's strange as it may seem, but if you're able to run free and do whatever, of course. When you know that somebody's checking the situation and there's some consequences behind some things that you might do, you're going to be a little more cautious and you're going to treat things a little bit better if you know that you might end up losing them. That's just life and its reality. Check it. Like, listen, if you have some standards in your world, you can tell people who have standards because of the way they look and the way they carry themselves versus someone who doesn't have any standards and just out there, and you know what they get. You get exactly what you want. Now, with that being said, sometimes, the shoe is on the other foot. It happens. Happens to the best of us sometimes. So ain't nobody perfect. So you can't hold people to certain standards if you're not going to hold yourself to those standards. So with that being said, when is the last time that you slipped up and got mixed up in some forbidden fruit? A place that you probably shouldn't have been? A person that you probably shouldn't have been with? When's the last time? And then maybe you are the one sitting around saying that I'm sorry. Maybe you are saying sorry to yourself because you know you messed up and you shouldn't have done what you did. How many times are you going to tell yourself that you're sorry? That's a different thing too. And these are all rhetorical questions. See, I love to ask these questions because it gets us all to think about our situation. It's one thing when somebody speaks up and they say, whatever they have to say. But when you have to sit and you have to think about it and you have to evaluate it because, you keep your mouth closed. You don't say anything. You just process it and deal with it that way. So process this question. Think about the last time that somebody told you they were sorry time and time again. You dealt with that and you had the shoe, you had the upper hand. But then what happens when the other person got the shoe on the foot or vice versa, however you want to call it? You know what I'm saying? And you were the one who had to say, I'm sorry because I messed up. I went to a place that I shouldn't have went to. I did something that I shouldn't have done. I hung with these people that I shouldn't have been hanging with. Maybe you just got some consequences that you have to deal with self. You let your own self down. You had some specific goals, some standards, some things that you set in life that you wanted to accomplish and you wanted to do, and you end up slipping up and you end up falling into temptation. When was the last time that you slipped up and got mixed up? And it's okay. It's all good. We're all human and we do things and we come out of things. But like everybody says, if you know better, you do better. So some people know better, but they just don't do better and they continue to fall into the same traps time and time again. Let's see what my special guest has to say tonight, Miss Marquita Staples.
Hello.
What's going on? How you doing tonight?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the 411.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. I can hear you good. So, question, where are you calling from tonight?
I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow, we are in Georgia. We've been here for a couple days now. So the guest last night, Flames, was from Atlanta, Georgia too. Do you know him?
What's his name again?
Flames. He has a clothing company.
What? I don't, but to be honest, I don't get out much. I'm fairly new to Georgia, so I'm out of
Okay.
the loop.
Where did you come from?
I'm originally from Detroit, and so that's where I was born and raised. And between Detroit and Atlanta, I've been in a couple other places,
Hmm.
and we've been here for about years now.
What made you? What sparked the move?
So I have two daughters, and my husband and I, we were in California before here, where the cost of living is very
Oh,
high, and
okay.
we had our kids while we were out there,
Hmm.
and so once we realized like we need more space, we want to buy a house. Also, I really like to be warm, so that kind of left Detroit out of the question.
Hmm.
Atlanta just felt like a good place to be.
Now, you said you were in California first?
Yeah, right before we moved here, we were in Oakland, California.
Oh, okay. And you didn't want to stay in California, huh? You didn't want to go back?
Well, I loved Oakland. It's
Hmm.
honestly one of my favorite cities. Um, but yeah, it's just really hard to have like a decent amount of space when you're in such an expensive place like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and also with my family being in Detroit and then his family's in Chicago, we were just so far away from everybody, different time zones. So
Hmm.
we were kind of ready to move back to this side of the country.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm from New Jersey. I don't know if you know anything about Jersey. You ever been?
I mean, outside of a layover or two at Newark, I don't think I have been to New Jersey.
It's all good. Um, you ain't really missing much. And I know people say that. You probably would say that about your hometown too, right? People get excited.
Oh no,
No?
no, I love Detroit. I mean, because Detroit is one of those places where you kind of just have to like rep for your city, just because it gets a lot of like negative attention. Um, so I like, and I really did love my childhood. Every time I go back, I love it. I feel like Detroit people are just amazing. So I do feel like that about Detroit, but I know what you mean. I have lived in
Uh,
some places where I'm just kind of like, it's an okay city, but like I
I,
wouldn't just like, sing its praises. In New Jersey, I always feel like, at least for people that I know of or know personally that are from New Jersey, if you're from like the New York area, like people just tend to say kind of New
that
York instead of
yeah.
New Jersey.
And then if you're from the other part, then they'll say they're from Philly. I get it. But again, I mean,
Oh,
I really don't see anything exciting about New Jersey. Like, I know that there's people out there that love Jersey that live here, and that's cool and all. But for me personally, I never been. Oh my God, I'm from Jersey. This is just it. I never been that way.
well, Jersey Shore, they made it cool, the show. So there's that,
For a little bit, and then that
right?
that died off too. Like, just for a little
Oh,
bit. But yeah, people do
that's true.
come. People do come to Jersey for to come to the shore. But I'm like, oh, you can see it anywhere else too. But
Yeah, I would prefer probably the Miami shore
yeah,
or like
yeah,
the a warmer shore. I'm sure in the summertime it's a nice shore, but like I
yeah.
said, I like it warm.
Like you can go to California. I see Bethany out there. You can do it too. I experienced that too. Like, why Jersey? Why do people come to New Jersey to go to the shore? But who knows? I don't know. I don't know. All right. So you are an author. So you have a series of books, and want to get into all of that, children's books and stuff. I get why you wrote them. You have children, so that makes sense. But how long have you been writing?
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I was definitely inspired by my daughter. So I started writing my first book at the beginning of 2019, and My daughter, she was about 1.5 at the time that I started, and that was when she started to express an interest in books. And I mean, we lived in California, which, I mean, Northern California is very, I guess it's diverse in its own way, but definitely not a lot of Black people. And so, the stores and like the library and wherever we would go look for books kind of reflected that. And we were at Target, and I remember there was one book that had a little Black kid on the cover. And right away, I mean, she's always been, she knows what she looks like. So she's just going to gravitate toward characters and books that, where she feels like they look like her. Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't grab that one book. And I was just like, okay, I wish we had another option. And so I really just enjoyed story time with her. Like, it's really, books are an interesting thing because we spend most of our time, even as adults, watching TV or like doing other forms of entertainment. But I think the magic of reading, well, there's magic of reading even as an adult, but with a kid, it's just cool to kind of frame the story the way you want to, the voices, the pace that you want to go, and, they turn the pages. So it was just a really sweet bonding thing that we had. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to write a book. I'm not going to publish it. Mm-hmm. And started writing it, kind of had some ideas. And also I was pregnant with my second daughter at the time. And so I was on maternity leave for a few months, and that was just a really good time for me to, like, between like caring for a new baby, kind of on this new project of writing a book. And so I started writing it, and then I hired an illustrator, and then I found myself being really particular about how I wanted the book illustrated, and I was like, you know what the heck, let me try to illustrate it too. And I had never like done any drawing or anything as an adult. Right. But once I got into it, I just really enjoyed the process. And so that first book is called What Should I Do Today? And it's really just the experience of a group of kids. My book series is called The Curly Crew, and The Curly Crew is made up of 6 children, 3 girls, 3 boys, and all of the books are basically, day in the life of a young kid, and it's targeted to toddlers through, I say, about kindergartners. So that first book, What Should I Do Today? It's in rhyme, and it's just, what should I do? Should I read a book? Should I go outside? And it's just meant to kind of highlight little Black kids just being their everyday selves. So that was kind of how I started. And then, of course, I thought I was just writing it just for her, but then I was like, oh, I actually, as you get more and more into the process, you just want to make the best thing you can make. And so before I knew it, I'm like, well, let me see what it would look like to officially publish it. And then, I was hooked to the process from there.
So, a couple things like drawing. That's, it's first of all, it's a lot to write a book, period, and get it all together and all that stuff. But to illustrate a book, that must have been a whole nother thing on top of it. So how is it, does it take a long time to like draw something up and get the colors right and get the scheme right and get it all set? Because when you first start drawing, the beginning and end are completely different.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's been a constant learning experience for me. In fact, this evening I take a figures drawing class every week just to, I'm constantly wanting to I'm better as an artist. Mm-hmm. And so the early versions of my book, they look very different than later on because I was kind of learning to draw as I went. And, I really feel like even though everyone does not have to be an illustrator, I always recommend that people that are writing children's books at least take a shot at drafting some illustrations, and it could be 6 figures. But, I think one thing is you have a vision in your head, and with a picture book, I mean, the pictures are so significant that I always appreciate when I see that full story come to life that someone had in their head.
Yeah.
And then the second reason is, like you said, it takes a long time to illustrate. I mean, like, I would say it takes me about, I've written a book as quickly as like an hour, and the illustrations, on the other hand, probably take me about 2 to 3 hours per page.
Right.
So it really gives you an appreciation for just how involved it is to illustrate.
Yeah, I would do stick figures, and my book probably wouldn't look that great. But I'm just saying, because I know I can't draw. But as a kid, I remember like being pulled and gravitated towards the Berenstain Bears, one of my favorites. Like, I would love to, read those books. And if I wasn't reading it, I was looking at the pictures. I think it starts off that way sometimes too, where kids just get sucked in by the pictures, and then from there it goes on to other things. And they're definitely, when I think about childhood books, that's one that definitely comes to mind for me.
Those are actually, I think, out of print. I don't know if all of them are out of print, but same. I grew up reading them, and I tried to find some of them, and you get them. They're like $20 though, because they don't print them anymore. So
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Whoever knew that they would stop that, of all things. And your the crew is called the Curly Crew. Are they called that because of their hair? What made them curly?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I went through a few different names. I mean, I really wanted something that made it clear that, it's not like all the books are about hair, but, as Black people, our hair is a very strong defining quality. And even for people that are not Black, I just find that in general, curly hair, because straight has been typically the standard of beauty, that there's a lot of pride and a lot that people in general can relate to. So that's where it came from. And then the alliteration with crew, it just kind of worked out.
Very good. So I want you to let everyone know where they can follow you at. If you have a website where they can purchase your books from. And then after we do that, then I want to get into some of the series, and we can go piece by piece and let us know what some of these books are about.
Okay, sure. So my preferred place is my website, curlycrewbooks.com. And the good thing about getting it from my site is you get an experience. If you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you'll see some reels or, videos where I show kind of the packaging experience. So you can get the bundles, and that's kind of a special thing that you can get there. But then, we all buy our books, and everything else from Amazon. So of course they're there as well. And there are a few other places too. But that's where you'll find them.
Okay. Now let's go piece by piece. So tell us what the first book was again.
Yeah, so book number 1 is What Should I Do Today? Mm-hmm. And that was published, I finished it in January 2020. And then during the pandemic, I mean, there was a lot going on, but there was just also, I look back now and I realized I definitely kind of poured myself into the book. So I published books 2 and 3. Book 2, like later in 2020, 3 came out at the beginning of 2021. So book 2 is called I Am Not Sleepy. And it is, I've since created a boy version as well, but the original was really the story of me and my daughter. She, to this day, she's 5 now, doesn't like to go to bed. And I mean, really doesn't like to sleep. And so I started off just like, it's always slightly painful. But at some point, I started to just try to make fun of it. And so it's like, this story is really just like, okay, mom's talking to her daughter. let's clean up the toys. I don't want to clean up my toys. All right, oh, look, let's play this fun game. Or I don't want to brush my teeth, but then she's excited because she's like, oh, I can brush all by myself. And so it's really just this like back and forth between mom and daughter. And, you know, ultimately, of course, she finally goes to sleep and she's sleepy, as all kids are. So that was just a really fun one to do, just because it was such a like realistic thing for me based on my daughter. Book number 3 is my bestseller, and it is called "I Love Being Me," and it is all just self-empowerment. I love my brown skin. Look at how it glows. I love my curly hair. You know, look at all the fun things I can put in it. You know, as well as like I love my tummy and my smile and like all these different things. And that one features all the characters of the Curly Crew, and you know, just kind of shows how they really love and appreciate themselves. And that one is interesting to me that it has been such a bestseller. And I think it really emphasizes the fact that parents are always looking for, you know, ways to reinforce to their children, like, you're amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
I think that's so important, hell, because most of the time the parents need some reinforcement themselves. So if you know you're struggling as a parent, you have an obligation to make sure that you do something so that your children have it a little bit better than you. So what a great way to start it off when they're young like that. If I could rewind some things and redo it again, I definitely would, you know, get more books like that and encourage more things like that as a young age, so it sinks in and it's embedded in them, because that's so important.
That's interesting that you say it that way, because that's been another thing that I've kind of learned just as a parent is, even though you're buying a book or whatever it may be for your child, you really are kind of buying it for you. I mean, it resonates with you in some way. And so I have found my own self, which is a good segue to my next book, which is I Have So Many Feelings. Social emotional, you know, just getting kids to like cope with their feelings and breathe and recognize that being angry is okay, and it's just, you know, we'll get through this. I personally resonate with so many of these messages, and I find myself reminding my daughter of certain things, or both of my daughters, of certain things, and reading these messages in books, and I walk away like, you know what? I probably could have handled that a little bit differently. Like, you know, thinking about something that happened at work earlier. So, so yeah, I just like that you said that. That is very true. That parents kind of pick up on those messages even for themselves, and then they, you know, they tell it to the children.
Now, what? That's 4, right?
So
we got 2 more.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. So that's 4. Book 5 is What If School is Scary? And I now regret the title, I'll be honest, in light of, you know, the things that happened last year in Texas. That title just feels so ironic, because what if school is scary? But it was never that deep. It was really just almost like I Am Not Sleepy, and it's the story of, you know, a kid that doesn't want to go to school, and he's just going through all these things of like, well, I can't go because I can't get in the car, and I can't do that, you know, and what it really comes down to is, what if, you know, no one wants to be my friend? What if the teacher gets mad at me, and like all these things? And that one was also very much, you know, me kind of replaying a lot of the things that happens with my daughters. They don't want to go to school, and I think they're really just kind of afraid of, you know, all the things that could go wrong. So that's book number 5, and then
now when you say
the last.
So when you say all of the things that can go wrong, you mean just simple things, not like, you know, the real things that go on in this world. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And the reason I say I regret the title is because I don't have an answer for that one, right? Like, that is, I can definitely reassure my child that even if she doesn't get along with her friends, you know, there will be people that she likes and people that she doesn't, and vice versa. And even if her teacher does get upset with her, it will be okay tomorrow. But it was, a very scary situation for all of us. And I always believe in being honest with my children. And I never would say anything to scare them. But there is something to the point of, there are things that could happen that are outside of our control. And that's not a conversation I ever want to have with a child. So that's why that book makes me think that now, that title in particular, but the contents don't. So I've actually even considered changing the title just because I actually didn't love the title from the start. I was kind of coming up with this hard. Like you overthink it,
you gotta have catchy ones, right? That makes sense that the kids are gonna remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll see. It's still a good book, though. I love the book. I love the story.
Wow.
And so then the last one, which was actually one I published before this one, before What a School of Scary, is I Am Magical, and it's a coloring book. And so it's just a bunch of fun things that kids, and it's really targeted to girls just because I found myself drawing things that are traditionally appreciated by girls. And that's another thing that has really been interesting to navigate as an author, especially as I write my books for children. We live in a society, and always have, that is very dictated by gender and gender norms. But I think we are really trying to get away from that. And so I honestly wrote that title. It's a subtitle that says A Coloring Book for Girls, simply because Amazon, I sell most of my books on Amazon, and Amazon is very, when it comes to keywords, gender is a very, people, that's what they search for. They search for coloring books for girls, but I found myself kind of going back and forth, because I don't think there has to be a girl or boy coloring book, right? For me personally. So that's just kind of been another thing that I've learned as I've gone through the process.
Yeah, it definitely is different these days. When we were growing up, of course, you had simple girl coloring books, boy coloring books. Curious to see how things are nowadays in the actual school, school setting, how they have things set up nowadays.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Same thing.
I have feelings there, because I actually got turned down by a school system that was interested in publishing a lot of my books, because I love being me. The feedback was that, because I have a couple of pages in there that's I love my lips, Auntie leaves her lipstick out just for me. That's one of the pages, and it happens to be a girl. And their opinion, this is school in California, their opinion was that it's perpetuating gender stereotypes, which I was just whoa, what? I didn't even, didn't say the boy can't put on lipstick. I don't understand what that means. So I guess they are, looking to kind of get rid of that. I think maybe doing the most in the process went a little too far, but
interesting.
They're figuring it out.
Wow, that's that's crazy. That's a crazy story. Marquita Staples, all the way from Georgia. I want to thank you so much for giving us a real deep dive into your book series, the Curly. Am I saying it right? The Curly Cruise.
Yep.
All right, Curly Cruise. Now, what is the series again? What's that called?
Oh, the series is, so everything is Curly Crew. The website is Curly Crew. So it's confusing now to me too, because my business name is Curly Crew Books, and the series name is also Curly Crew Books. My trademark is Curly Crew Books.
Okay.
My LLC is Curly Crew Books. So everything is Curly Crew Books, but but that has also been, also, I guess I technically have a seventh book that I haven't even figured out how to fold into this conversation, and that is an adult coloring book. It is called A Whole Mood, and it was inspired by a journey I took in developing an African American English version of one of my books. And it was a series, if you check it out on TikTok, it was kind of a semi-viral series where I converted this book, and it was very, people either loved or hated it. And I decided in the end not to publish the book because, I don't know. I felt like I'm going to revisit this later. But in the meantime, I'm going to publish this adult coloring book, which, feels a lot more like less resistance against like just a coloring book that's got phrases. So I mean, it's just like, like I said, it's called A Whole Mood, and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on all the AAE phrases. But anything you can come up with in your mind, like.
Do people, adults, are they really into the coloring book scene? Is that still popular? I know it was at one point where it made a comeback, and just how busy we are and how crazy the world is that something that's still popular in your eyes?
Yeah, it is. And you're right. There was a period of time, I feel like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe even longer, where it was like really big. And I think it's kind of settled. And the people that are really into adult coloring are like really into it, and they like have all types of opinions about the complexity and just, different things. But I also feel like for those that don't know about adult coloring, once they kind of get into it, they, you can always find it super relaxing. And if you're not like artistically inclined, the picture is done for you. So it's just nice to have like a starting point to kind of express yourself. I'm all about like creativity just being a really major source of self-care.
Sounds very good. Now, I have some couple things for you. I know you said you got something new coming out, but some titles or some themes that I think would make sense for kids, as we both grew up. One thing that I can remember, when I go back to like the elementary phase, is teaching kids that you're not always going to win. So that might be a theme. I just remember people getting so upset. There were like fights. There were all kinds of, even back and forth once we would get into the classroom, because there was somebody who was upset because they thought that they had to win all the time. Since then, they changed things. Nobody really wins. There really is no first and second, third place. It's even got to that point because, and a shame, because you were not able to teach your child that not everybody's going to win. That's one thing. Another theme that you might could use in the future is not everybody's going to want to be your friend. So as adults, we have a problem with that too. And it turns into not everybody's going to love you. So if you teach them younger about themselves, having self-confidence and self-love and being able to create their party on their own, the right people will gravitate towards you. Not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to be your friend. So I don't know. I would love to see, you take those things and, bring that to light some kind of way.
Wow. I love that did you come up with those because we were having a conversation, or have you been thinking about those anyway?
The fact that you were telling me about children's books and stuff while you were talking, I'm thinking and I'm visioning, I have children too, what it would have been like if I had, touched on some of these topics in depth. So it took me back there. And then of course, the things that we deal with as adults, if we don't correct it, our children deal with it too. So, of course, some of these things, have been embedded in me too. So I had to go back and I had to think about some of the things that I dealt with in the school setting and things like that. You talked about your child not wanting to go to school, and, you wrote a book about that. A lot of times kids don't want to go to school because we're not having these conversations and giving them the tools to be able to, fight that. So I think that that's great that you have a book. I wish that, I had something like that growing up. So, yeah, as you were going through your story, I was sort of, reminiscing a little bit.
No, those are good. They're such like very real topics. So I was like, I wonder if you've been thinking about those for a while. And then one thought I have for you is, I don't know if you've ever considered publishing a book, but it sounds like you have a very good and strong point of view. So it is something worth considering.
Not children's. I haven't done children's books, but I do books and stuff, but not children's ones. So mine got a little bit of interesting things in there. It's not some
well,
of it.
Could be your, you'll have your two sides. That'll be like that side.
Yeah.
This will be the other extreme. You probably want to have a pen name.
Yeah, I've heard of that happening too. That's good. All right. So,
but I did want to say just a quick comment on both those topics and just like the stuff that I'm doing too. It really makes me realize how when it comes to, I think, just mental health in general for adults, and then definitely for children, it is all still so new. I think, we're probably like at least somewhat similar age, and it was really just survival growing up, right? You're fed, you're like, you're enrolled in school, whatever. There was not a lot of space for all of these other conversations, and, or even when it comes to, we've now started to recognize things like, what do you call it? Non-neurotypical temperaments, right? Like ADHD or different levels of autism. Yeah, and so I'm realizing this because what I've been trying to find lately is I find all these books on kids and like things that you could teach your kids or whatever. But I'm always like, what do the adults look like that were struggling with this when they were kids? And honestly, there's just not a lot of information out there.
No,
and I'm just like,
of course not.
Yeah. Because we just didn't get into that back then.
Right.
So yeah.
So yeah, you said we are pretty much around the same age. I'm 21, so I know that.
Oh, me too. I'm actually going to turn 21 next week. I'm a little younger than you. I have my daughter at what, 15?
Are you? Wait a minute. Are you serious? Because I
am not serious.
Oh, okay. I was about to say because I was joking. So you caught on. Okay.
See, I joked you. I was
paying attention. You were ready, right? All right. So we are getting ready to get into burning questions, which is a segment of the show where I basically flip it and put my guest in a hot seat. And it's basically your opinion. You give your opinion and I give mine. And, we take them from there. And for those of you out there that are listening, if you're watching a replay, please comment as well and, let us know how you feel about this. So, burning question. What was the last thing that someone has done that shocked the hell out of you? I mean, really flipped you back like, what? How did that happen?
Okay, I guess I'll talk about this one because it's book related. So, there was a author who recently released a book called something Hoodlums. I don't know if you've heard about this, but she's a white author, and it was like this very just like trying to make some kind of urban lit, and then she called them Hoodlums. It was just a really bad idea, and I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, of course, but you know what? I probably could never get used to stuff like that because I mean, she ended up finally pulling the book because she got completely dragged. But that was I guess that was pretty shocking to me. I was like, whoa, why did you write that, girl? Hope you learn from it.
Oh, basically, but it wasn't anything disrespectful. I guess it was sort of just, her perspective of trying to write something for another culture, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay.
Write something for another culture, and she just really missed the marks, and it was, if it was an idea that she had, it probably wasn't hers to write. Yeah.
Just think about that. Think about if we had to write a book for, another culture, another language, and we go out there thinking that we know stuff and then end up, making ourselves look foolish.
Yes, I know. I think that's exactly how I think about it sometimes. And I mean, and I imagine I will do things that rub people the wrong way. No one's perfect, but you know what probably made it much worse for this author too is she actually tried to defend it initially, and I think that's what made it really bad for her. Instead of like, oh my gosh, I messed up, guys, sorry. It was like she said that the book was based on, I think, Mount Hood, which is like some place in like Oregon or something, and it just tried to sort of dance around.
Yeah.
And I mean, things like that, it's like, yes, we will all make our mistakes, but the way you handle it speaks so much to your character. And yeah, that wasn't it. So hopefully this time around, after like really, really getting dragged, she kind of learned her lesson.
Now I'll go ahead and take a different perspective on this same thing here that you're speaking about. Maybe the reason why that things like this happen, because this isn't the first time. There's been other scenarios along these lines, because the people who are supposed to, protect and support and preserve, that's a good word, preserve, they don't do a very good job of it. And the ones that are, they need some help. And the fact that, there is lack of help there, other people feel that they have the opportunity to jump in and help. I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of this because it's not heavily, if I have the right word, saturated properly. It's when you're open. You haven't, I guess, claimed your ground enough. That could be one.
So this is things like things. Like, would that be a form of preserving? Is that what you mean? Like kind of gatekeeping the culture?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
When you say that maybe things like this happen because the people that are supposed to kind of protect and preserve like this culture and like identity are not doing it. When you say, what does that look like to protect and preserve it?
I mean, have more representation. Put it that way. Have more representation and have more people on the same page. I think that's very important, and I think that I think that there's a lot of work to be done in certain areas that way. I mean, you leave yourself wide open. Yeah. I mean, if something is being heavily preserved and protected and being represented, I think that people are going to stay away from it if they know better. But if there's an opportunity to come in and do something, I think you left yourself wide open.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, and what you said about just being on the same page and just being a community. I think that is the way things get left wide open.
But I mean, I feel that we're in some really rough times right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, hate to see what it would look like of course, we're going to go down that path, but just what I see here today, I'm like, ooh, I hate to see what's going to happen when, I get older and I'm in a situation, people are being disrespected and things aren't being preserved now. And the younger generation that's coming up, man, I don't know. who gonna be teaching who?
I see a little bit of both. I see a little bit of both. These Gen Zs, they definitely have like a level of tenacity that I'm just like, okay, this is dope. I like what y'all are doing. But then, yeah, it's always like two sides to it. So
I absolutely do appreciate that, because maybe that's the problem too, because we focus so much on the negative and so much of the negative energies and stuff that's being brought to the forefront. but nobody's shedding the light on people who are doing the right thing and are doing, proper research and are coming up with new projects and trying to make it work. So you know what, I will take that, and I'll go get back with self and reevaluate that, because that talk that I was talking, it's just so easy for someone to fall into that trap because everybody else is doing it too. Everybody else is pulling up and pointing fingers at the negative things that are, brought to the forefront.
It's all balance.
I
mean, we do we do them both because they're both true.
And
so
one thing in life is that one can't exist without the other. So just as much evil that's out there in the world, there has to be a balance of the same as far as good. So don't ever think that one is more powerful than the other. Well, it is, but in a roundabout way. But that's getting too deep. But anyway, on that note, I want to say thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate it. Definitely learned a lot and had some great conversation, and we were able to take it there a little bit tonight. So, but before you get out of here, if you can please let us know where we can follow you at on your social media pages, as well as your website again, and let us know the name of your books again, your series, your book series.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Curly Crew Books everywhere, so that should make it easy. Follow me on TikTok for more candid, I speak my truth, speak my mind there. Instagram, I tend to get a little more polished, book focused. Facebook, I'm kind of boring. And LinkedIn, if you really want to be boring.
That's interesting that you say you speak your truth on TikTok. You must just keep it very clean then, because you gotta be careful sometimes with the things that you say on there.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I probably stepped more outside of my polished self on TikTok than I ever have. And I think it's all respectful and it's all just stuff that should be said. But yeah, I definitely don't live the troll life, and I don't get too crazy. So yeah, check me out there, and then curlycrewbooks.com is my website, and that's where you'll find all the books.
curlycrewbooks.com. Very good. Thank you so much for coming through. This was definitely refreshing tonight, and I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, sir. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Well, everybody, there you have it. That was Miss Marquita Staples, Curly Crew Books. Definitely enjoyed that conversation. I want to say what's going on to Young. I see you out there on Instagram. I appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you out there for supporting. So if you're out there on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you watch the replay from or get the experience, I definitely want to say thank you so much. You can get small clips of the show on TikTok and Daily Motion as well. That is at Laren Gaines. Now, if you would like to support the 411 podcast or Reading Between the Lines, please go ahead and click that link above all of my social media platforms. And you can go inside of Volume 1.5, The Liberation Remix Journal, and you can purchase my new book for $7.99. And it is a journal basically telling you a little bit about my past, telling you where I'm at right here in the present moment. And I also am writing some nice, powerful, impactful affirmations about, where I see myself. And I leave it open for you as well. This is a remix journal. Give you 30 days towards a healthier mindset. We working towards a healthier mindset so that we can try to move towards something bigger and better. You may not be where you want to be today, but as you continue to press on and move forward, you can get to where you need to be. Speak it into existence. That's what it's about. The Liberation Remix Journal. And of course, I cannot do this without my executive producer, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and give you all this show one more time in life. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you out there for supporting. I appreciate it. I see you. I hear you. And we are going to continue to keep flowing on and doing this thing as we continue to rock on this journey together as well. Tomorrow, we have reading between the wines. Wind down Wednesday. Come back here at 8 p.m., not 10 p.m., 8 p.m. As we wind down, bring your glass, bring your bottle, do whatever, you know, we winding down and we having a little bit of fun. We have author Lisa Thomas coming in tomorrow. We're going to have some fun tomorrow. We definitely going to have some fun. Thursday, got a little special surprise too. So come back to the 4-1 podcast on Thursday. We got some fun and excitement that's going to happen here. On that note, I want to say thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Other than that, I'll see you when I see you. Please like, comment, share, tag, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to make it do what it do. Thank you so much. Take care, y'all. Have a good night.